Hello, my friends. Again, let me say welcome to another episode of the Legacy series that recognizes our people in the diaspora, as well as some of our people back in our homeland in Jamaica, who have made significant contribution of their time and their services to satisfy and to meet some of the needs that exist for our people. And this afternoon, we have a gentleman of exceptional quality that we're going to turn over to our host, Dale, Secretary to the Cricket Hall of Fame, none other than the Honorable Dale Brown, as he introduced our guest and lead us into this episode. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you, sir, Professor, and welcome to our guest, and welcome to all who will be and are watching this program. As the professor said, as a reminder, it is the Legacy series, and we highlight leaders, especially those now in the Jamaican diaspora, who are committed to sharing their knowledge and sharing their skills and resources to uplift and provide opportunities for the youngsters in Jamaica in particular. And tonight, we are celebrating a gentleman whose vision and his organization, leadership of his organization, separates him from a lot of the leaders and separates him as one of the outstanding leaders. And he is committed to inspire growth, sharing his skills, and sharing his own resources to lead the Kingston College Old Boys chapter of Georgia towards fulfilling their role in terms of providing opportunities and inspiring the young men in Jamaica, all over Jamaica, not just at Kingston College, but throughout Jamaica. And with that, we welcome Dr. Alvin Binns. Dr. Binns, welcome.
Thank you, gentlemen. It's a pleasure having me here tonight. And keep up the exceptional job you're all doing. This is really a good program to extend information across the diaspora and even to individuals back home.
Yes. So, Dr. Binns, just a little, getting to know you a little bit. Could you share with us who your favorite teacher was at primary school? And what was their impact on your life, overall?
Favorite teacher at primary school? Every day you're taking me back, way back in the days. the memory box, I'm digging deep in the memory box now. But you always remember that special teacher. So I went to a primary school in Central Village, White Marl. At the time, it was called White Marl All Age. It's now White Marl Infant and Primary. And my favorite teacher, I encountered my favorite teacher in grade 6, 5 and 6. And her name is Mrs. Campbell. And why she was my favorite teacher? She was very strict. At the time, my parents couldn't afford to pay for extra lessons. I guess I was one of her students that was doing well in the class, and she didn't want to leave me. So she would say, Alvin, come, don't worry about the money. Come. And she gave me extra classes for free. And for that, I really appreciate it. And I'm grateful for her. I'm grateful for what she has done for me. The time and effort and that free extra classes that she gave me where I could attend. So, Mrs. Campbell, if she's still alive and she's out there, thank you very much. And I really appreciate it.
She invested in you?
A lot. A lot.
So outside of her, obviously helping you out, was there anything that you learned from her that impacted you as you move through life?
Yes, and not as I said, my favorite. So throughout primary school, at the time, I could say the teachers and the staff was a really caring group. Because at the time, those time back in the days in the mid 80s, the teachers were part of the community because they were the one who usually do the censuses and all that stuff during the election time. So we get to know the teachers very well, and they were involved in the community. So they play a very big role in terms of us as students and as kids, looking up to them and what they have done both academically on the school side and what they have done in the community. Because they will come and say, "Hey, we know where you live, and stuff like that." So it kind of encourages you and uplift you, and they push you to do good. And for that, I could say the staff as a whole, I really appreciate how they approach education in that times and invest in students and things.
Okay. So from this primary school, you moved on to Kingston College?
Yes, so from White Marl College, I passed common entrance as in those days, and then I passed for Kingston College. Um, I up to today, I said I dip in my memory box, but I can vividly remember that day running down to the main street just to buy that newspaper to look for your name. And obviously, I didn't wait until I reach home to look if I see my name. I already start looking before I got home. So by the time I reach home, I already had the news and was ecstatic. So, I was very happy. But yes, Kingston College was my first choice. And really, my house was a purple house by that time when I was in that age. As I said, I remember mentioned earlier on to the professor that Isaiah Clark was the first in the household to move or matriculate onto Kingston College. He was ahead of me. And then my cousin, Injin, which is Donald Burke Injin, a lot of them know him as a champs athlete. He passed for Casey. And so I looked up to those two and what they have done ahead of me. And I said that's where I'm trying to go when I pass. Kingston College was my choice, and I got it. I was very ecstatic that day when I matriculated up from primary school to KC.
So obviously you did well in your academics. And what are some of the memorable moments that you had at KC?
Man, it's a lot. Let's start out with. I'm going to start out with sports first. At sports, of course, I did soccer and track and field. I didn't play Manning Cup. I played a couple minor leagues. While playing inter sports at the time, they saw me on the field, and I guess the track coach saw something in me that he wanted me on the team because I guess I used to play what they call on the right wing, right back, and one of the track guy was playing left wing, so me run around him. And they saw me and they called me and said, "Hey, come on for track." And back in those days, KC was the juggernaut in track and field and a lot of sports. So I didn't see myself making the team. So I told them, no, I wasn't going to try out. So I didn't went right away until they came and they supplied me with running gears. I said, well, I don't have a choice now. I'm in. And that's where I start running track and field. And then I'll get back onto track and field where I got from there. But those are some of the memorable moments. I was involved in quite a lot of other stuff, chess club. So the camaraderie between young men in those days, I mean, that was like everything because up to today as we grow old, that's the period that tends to remember the most.
Yes.
And the things you used to do. So a lot of intramural sports. I mean, that's bring a lot of camaraderie, a lot of guys. And as young men, when your testosterone was just getting to its peak, then it's about competition, and competition is always good,
Yes.
and we had a lot of fun during those sports days. In terms of the academic side, a lot of the teachers again also was influential. I was someone who is, would say, a little good at math. Let's just put it like that. So I was very good at math. We had a good core group of young men at the time who were also good at math. So we used to have also competition in that, in terms of who get the highest grades, and who can do this and who cannot do that, and so on. So it's friendly competition. It's not nothing with any malicious intent or anything. It's for that bravado, as you would say you're the best and you get the highest. So in that was a good experience also. There was quite a few teachers also who was very, very, very instrumental in terms of offering their time and investment in us. Similar in that maths as we talk about. I can remember one of our teacher, Mr. Samuda, he will spend endless time with us under the tree after school and assist us with our A-level maths and our further maths at that time, because we're on a GC schedule. So after you do A-level maths, there was another maths called further maths. So he would sit with us and assist us, and he invests a lot of time in quite a few of us. Our technical drawing teacher, Mr. Riley, also. So I've never had a teacher who was willingly said they were not willing to help you.
Right.
Every one of them that you reach out to offer their time and effort in terms of assisting you in whatever you're trying to do. So quite a few teachers I remember: Mr. Riley, Mr. Samuda, Mr. Douglas, English teacher, Miss Cochrane. I can go on and on. It's quite a few teachers that's still in my head from Kingston College.
One of the good things in those days is that a teacher was also rated by the success of her students.
Yes.
Okay. So when they look at you as a prospect, you know, and a passing grade for one for them, you know,
Yes.
if you're absent from school, they want to know where you were.
They follow.
Yes.
Yes. So, Alvin, you mentioned running. To what level of success did you achieve?
Okay, level of success, that's putting a high one on it. But I at KC, I was a middle distance runner, and I was fortunate to get a track and field scholarship to Alabama State University.
Okay.
As usual, we ran at the pen relay, where we would come up for the pen relay and participate in the pen relay. And the pen relay, I participated in the 4x4.
Okay.
That year we didn't win a medal. So while I was at KC and I was at Champs, I was in the middle of the pack. I came to college. I did my fair share, because I was able to have a few records in my college school, book at Alabama State University. So I did my fair share in track and field. I wasn't planning to head to Olympics. I at an early age, I use it as a vehicle, because as I said, I was a soccer athlete that I looked at as a soccer player. And through that they identified as my track and field. So I went on to the track and field, because when I was in fifth form, I started to realize where I need to go after I leave KC. So I had two plans in terms of joining the military, the army, or when the track and field came around, I said the track scholarship. So when I left fifth form, I went and worked at Upward Camp for a while. And as a matter of fact, I was even late signing up for my sixth form, because I had decided that time I'm just going to go in the army and be an officer.
Okay.
So after about September or stuff and a mind change. So try the scholarship. So what I did, I went back down to KC and signed up for sixth form. So even the vice principal said to me, Alvin, I thought you weren't coming back. But I at the time I was one of the best results for the school. So they find space for me, and I was in. So I ran track between lower six and upper six. And then I left KC in 93, and I sat out a year and went back and worked at Upward Camp for a year. And then accepted the scholarship and went to Alabama State University.
Okay.
And that was a track and field scholarship.
Yes, I went on a track and field scholarship.
So the success of the track and field was getting you the scholarship. Was it being a vehicle, as I like the word you use, vehicle? And it took you to Alabama. So it was Alabama. A success for you. It was a success.
Yes, of course it was. Because for me, I know my parents couldn't afford to send me to college. I mean, so that's an option I already took off the table. So after I went back to sixth form, I had two options now. The first one was military, because that's always on the table, because I was working there and they already was willing to accept me in the military. Because at that time I have CXC plus A levels now. So at that time you'll enter as a second lieutenant and as an officer. So, and then the track and field now, when the scholarship came through, I decided to say, I'm going with the track and field. So I took the scholarship and went to Alabama State University.
Tell me something. You went deep south. What was the atmosphere like when you went to Alabama?
You want me to be frank?
Yes. Cut the fat.
Okay.
Down to the bone.
SosoBone. All right. So coming to Alabama State, the option was I was offered a few scholarships at the time, but none of them was 100%. So my coach at the time, which was Coach Leo Brown, said to me that the first one that comes with 100%, take it, because you cannot afford the other 5% or the other 10%, because just my family and me, we just didn't have the money.
Right.
So Alabama State was the first to come up with 100%. So I didn't know where it was or anything. I just took it. I'm going to be frank. I just took it. 100%. I took it. So on my way to Alabama, of course, at the time, coming from Tennessee to Montgomery, Alabama, you fly on those twin engine 17-seater. But already in my head, we call it SosoBone. We use that word. When I was there, my thought was, while we were flying and going over some of the fields, we have cows and stuff like that before we get to the city. In my head, I'm not here to count no cow. I'm here to drink all the milk they're providing. So I wasn't counting no cow. I'm just here to drink milk. So that was my trip heading to Alabama State from Jamaica.
Yeah. Okay. So now you will just matriculate now and head straight to being a member of the Georgia Old Boys chapter for Kingston College. And I would say that's a prestigious position because KC is one of the most esteemed institutions in Jamaica. And naturally you link up with that group of boys or old boys. What led to you now deciding to put your hat in the ring to become president?
Before I even got to the presidency, in the early years, that's why I don't tend to worry about the younger one joining the old boys fraternity, as they're out there trying to figure out life and trying to get their family structure and stuff together. So when I was in a comfortable enough position and I decided it's time for me to start giving back, or pay forward is the term that's most used now. I started to look for a KC Old Boys Association that was in North America or so on. So I looked around and I was online, and lucky enough, I saw one in Georgia because I live in Birmingham, Alabama. So I obviously reached out, and they said they have meeting once a month. And stuff. I said, all right, next meeting, I'm on my way up. So I drove up. It's about a 3-hour drive. So I drove up, attend the meeting. And they were welcoming, and I appreciate the group of gentlemen. Yeah, and they were very supportive group. So ever since that day now, I start attending meetings and support the chapter that's there. And that's started in 2012. Yes, 2012. And I've been there with the chapter since then. As a member until I matriculate up to the presidency.
Okay.
Now, why I took the role? I don't look at it as a role, as a prestigious role. Me, personally, to me, it's my duty to give back and to pay forward to the young men that are there, because I'm standing on shoulders of others who have also paved the way for me. Because what you tend to realize is that I'm going to use the track and field. When I was a member of the track and field and the uniform and gears we got, it didn't really record in my brain until I get older that someone has to provide that for you.
Yes.
And when you start realizing that even the equipments in the chemistry labs and some of those other stuff, they were provided by other generous donors for us in order for us to have access to those educational resources. So me, it was a duty for me to start giving back and paying forward for the younger men and the next generation that is coming behind us, so we can keep the tradition going. So when the chapter and the gentlemen them made the decision that it's time for me to step forward and be president, at first I was kind of skeptic. They said, no problem, we'll support you. At the time and up to now, I'm still the youngest member of the group.
Okay.
But they have confidence in me to let me to cover the position, and they're very supportive. And from 2012 until now, I've been driving back and forth to Atlanta, and I'm supporting the chapter for the cause of Kingston College, plus other students and young ones.
Yes, I mean, guys like Garfield McCook and all those guys, they, we know how dedicated KC has always been. Strong organization in Atlanta. Derek Wright and all those guys, way back from the days when Anthony Johnson was the ambassador in Washington and he would be coming down to events. I was at all those events those days before I went back to New York.
Yes.
You understand? So I know the strong core of our 40s. And even as a guest at their event, you have to sit there while they stand up and salute 40s, and like and being an old Tishfield boy, come around.
It's a good camaraderie.
Good camaraderie, man.
Camaraderie. Yeah. You're on mute, brother Dave.
It is interesting to me, Alvin, that it only took them 3 long years or short years to recognize the leadership qualities that you possess. And I know you're not going to say yes, but that is what is impressed on me. And what is even more impressive is the fact for over 12 years now, you have been doing that 3-hour trek to attend meetings, whether you're a regular member or in your position as president. And I think that truly sets you apart, that 3-hour journey that you undertake at least once a month.
Yeah, and again, to me, it wasn't nothing, but COVID kind of helped now in terms of like the
Yes.
Zoom meeting here. So we have a lot of online meetings now too.
Yes.
Okay.
So the trip is not every month anymore,
Mhm.
but
Okay.
the COVID, I mean, online kind of take over some of our meeting arrangement.
Yes.
Okay.
Um,
So,
so
right. So let's go to KC now. What developments or improvements have you seen during your tenure now to the infrastructure or anything else at Kingston College?
well, as a let's transition to as a chapter in terms of how we kind of assist in some of that stuff. So
Mm.
as a chapter, we have, I think we have now, as a fraternity, we have 8 chapters, if I think I'm counting. Plus, we have other supporting groups that are not chapters, but they're organization that still caters towards the benefit of Kingston College and young people in Jamaica. So as a chapter, we here in Atlanta focus on mainly scholarship towards the school and infrastructure development, sports, choir, over the years, school challenge, just about every angles that the school has. Over the years, we have kind of play a part in. It depends on the year and the budget that we have set out, which program each year by year that we will support. Um, Even the Atlanta chapter also, we don't only support Kingston College, but we offer a scholarship to other schools um, throughout Jamaica. A few that I can think of currently is Holy Childhood, Wilmer's. These are the ones we have currently. Holy Childhood, Wilmer's, um, ESC, Jonathan Grant,
Mhm.
um, trying to remember the others off the top of my head. We support about 5 schools currently.
Okay.
We also adapt a primary school. So what I did is and we run it through the chapter. I adapt my primary school, which is White Marl Primary,
Mhm.
um, support them with resource. In terms of currently we are renovating their literacy and numeracy lab. Hopefully we can finish that project before the next couple of months. And I dedicated as scholarships for my stepdad and my mom for any young men who pass for KC out of that school, plus also the top females student matriculated from that school, high school. So that's where most of those kids are coming from. And to be frank with you all, gentlemen, um, these ideas and really comes from one of our mentors in the Atlanta chapter again. And Professor will probably know him, is Glenn Lamont.
Yes, man.
Speaking with Glenn, he always tell me, yes, you're humble and don't want people to know your history and stuff. But he said, if you keep it to yourself, nobody's going to know.
Yeah.
And you won't help anyone keeping it to yourself.
Yes.
So when I start giving some of my story and what I have accomplished over the years and stuff, he said, let's try to put it in an article and publish it. So from that, from ever since he mentioned that to me, it's kind of, register in the brain that you really need to let people hear your story,
Yeah.
because really, if they don't hear your story, you're not motivating anyone and no one will ever know what really transpired.
Yeah. Glenn has served as more or less as the distribution channel.
Yes, yes, yes,
You send all the events and everything to Glenn, and when Glenn sends an email out, everybody is listed in that capacity, you know.
yes,
And
yes,
he has written an excellent book too.
yes, yes.
Okay.
I,
Yeah.
for that, I have to give Glenn credit, because even with this interview, if you had caught me 3, 4 years in the rear, probably I wouldn't have accepted the interview to
Uh,
really give my story on a platform like this. So I really give him credit for that, because when you really think of it, that is true, because there are other young men and youngsters out there that were in similar position like you, who has a humble upbringing and challenging upbringing. So it's kind of probably refreshing and motivating to see them that someone can transition to another level out
Yes.
of the position they're in and make it. It's not, you're not always in between the rock and a hard place. There's ways that you can really find your way out and see the light.
Yes.
Mhm. Yeah, you mentioned COVID. Uh, did you have any special initiatives during that period of time? I'm sure you would have.
Well, in COVID, most of the, as usual, now, most of the special initiatives were to really raise really raise funds, because in 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 everything that we do is caring, and to care, it requires capital, it requires cash. So it
Yes.
requires cash to care. So as an organization, um, most of what we do is fundraising. Yes, there's other um, areas where we can give our talent and mentoring and so on. But on a broad scale, when you really look at it, most of what we are trying to accomplish, since we are in America and what we're doing is in Jamaica, most of what we are trying to accomplish is going to require cash.
Yes.
With online now and electronic media, yeah, you can do a few things here and there, but it's not as effective if you're trying to mentor or do anything than when you're in the physical space.
So I'm gonna say something and you respond to it. Spread the wealth.
Yes. So spreading the wealth is what is what we're all about. Because as I said, as a chapter, we spread the wealth. The funds we raise and what we try to do within the chapter itself, we also encourage individuals to spread the wealth to other schools, whether it's early childhood, K through 12. Well, in Jamaica, it's really K through 6, um, and then high school. So we encourage the young men to support their primary school if they can. Um, Support other kids if you can, even though most of what we do is really geared towards Kingston College, as we're alumni chapter. But we spread the wealth in terms of, as we said, adapting a primary school, offering scholarship to at least 5 or 6 students that are not going to Kingston College. So we do spread the wealth.
Mhm. No, you mentioned your primary school. I'll call it your primary school. But is there another primary school that's in the western part of the island that you support?
Repeat that, because you freeze for a little while.
Or is there another school in Westmoreland that you support, another primary school?
Yes. So uh, it's not me for say, but it's a member of our organization again. So for Melissa, during Melissa year, as we know, a lot of people has been impacted across
Yes.
Jamaica.
Mhm.
Now within our chapters, there's quite a few brothers, including me, who had family who were significantly impacted. So
Mhm.
we made the decision that we are not going to run as a project for Melissa. We're gonna let each individual just manage their self-interest project that they're dealing with. So within our chapter, we have three gentlemen that heavily supported their primary school back in Jamaica. One that's still outstanding, that's still our continuous support, is coming up in Westmoreland. Um, I'm trying to remember the name, but it's Captain Mike. Probably know him.
Yes,
Yes.
man.
Yeah, so his primary school back in Westmoreland, they had a significantly damaged. So he supports them, and he's running some educational resource and infrastructure work with them. We reached out to the chapter as a whole to see how much we can gain also to help him in that support. We also have a brother, Sedley Morris, who went down and did a massive project with his primary school, also in Westman. Um, I, of course, deal with my primary school in Central Village there. And you have others also who have contributed significantly to families and friends, both in Jamaica in terms of supporting Melissa. So that's our support went. We also had where the school, KC itself, did some projects on the ground where they partner and went down and assist states and some other schools in terms of renovation, clean up, and some support. So the gentlemen them on the ground, the student body on the ground, and the school, they had a couple projects where they went down and assist um, schools out west in terms of cleaning up and a little renovation and a small donation cause.
And let me say in reference to Captain Mike, and his wife, they always put on a nice fashion show to raise funds for
That's
these.
true too. That too. Yes.
Okay.
So yes, they do that too. Also with the Melissa Relief Program, I was kind of heavily involved here in Birmingham, Alabama, because there is a Caribbean organization here, Central Alabama American Caribbean Association, where we did a massive fundraising drive and a massive donation collection. That was spearheaded by the President Gina and Pauline Ford. And
Pauline Ford, Caesar Ford.
Yes, she's here in Birmingham.
She used to be in Atlanta,
Yeah, she's here in Birmingham with us now.
I know. I do keep in touch with her.
Yes, so we had a massive fundraising drive down here, and we collected some funds and we sent all of our donation, of course, went through Food for the Poor.
Oh,
so
yes.
we had to ship it, box it up, and get it delivered down in Louisiana, where we shipped it after them. And
yes.
Also, I think the monetary donation was submitted to the Council General to us.
Yes, we have recommended Food for the Poor as one organization that even on some of the programs that Dale and I participate in, like Cricket Show USA, we will mention that as a destination, or even the First World Cricket Hall of Fame. We do remember, we remember a Cornwall College, or we'll mention a Food for the Poor, because they are doing this long before Melissa came along. Okay.
Yes.
So they don't need to show you any receipt for what they were doing, because they were doing it without you long before you even knew about them. So don't ask them what they're gonna do with the money. Okay. They have been taking their money and doing it for years. So if you come to join them now, just give your offering and go about your business. Okay.
Yeah, and that makes it kind of much easier for the organization also, because they're well established.
Yes, exactly.
In order for us to be trying to keep up with the other part of the accountability and the visibility, then that's going to be really, really challenging for us on this side. So choosing a reputable organization that's already up and running was the decision.
Yes.
Right. So with I would imagine, I think you mentioned about 7 or 8 chapters. Is it in any way challenging to collaborate with them as you seek to achieve your shared goals? Because I'm sure you have the same thing in common. So is it easy to collaborate with them?
Well, no, in today atmosphere it is. Back in the days it wasn't. As I said, with online and electronic media now, things become much easier. So with all the chapters, what we do, we have a forum where all the chapters presidents meet at least once a month. And we discuss if there's any emergency item that comes out of the school that we can address through president's committee. If we can, then we will do. But each chapter usually has its own commitment, because over the years it has been set up a way where each chapter have an idea what each chapter is doing and what their responsibility was and what they have took years. Just for argument's sake, Atlanta is not one of the biggest chapters, by no means necessary. If you're talking about, if we're talking about really in terms of contribution financially, you have to look at chapters like South Florida, New York, because they tends to support the sports and the initiative that requires most of the funding. So like track and field and football, you know that South Florida is more involved in that. So if Atlanta now as a chapter, we are supporting any one of the sporting initiative, we usually send our donation and stuff through South Florida so they can handle it, get it people down there on the ground, since that's what we would call it, that's their bread and butter.
Yes.
That's what they that's what they focus on. Atlanta is more of a scholarship, and New York also involved deeply with some of the sporting stuff. When they come to Penny and all that stuff,
Yes.
New York tends to be the chapter that pick up that and spirit and lead that type of initiative. So over the years, each chapter kind of has its own commitment that each year they look towards. So it's kind of something that is already in play. Now, if there's, as I said, if something that comes in that requires the attention for overall, like KC just has their 100th anniversary.
Yes.
And of course, I know this is a legacy program. We also what was called a legacy projects. We had 7 legacy projects, as Brother Dale was mentioning, but in terms of infrastructure change over the years with KC. There was 70 legacy projects. There was significant change in terms of infrastructure for the school. Because we look at the IT lab, which is fully renovated and completed now and is open, that can facilitate technology, IT jobs such as AutoCAD and all that stuff. So that's a new project that was completed and was spearheaded to New York, of course, supported by groups and chapters and individuals. We have infrastructure development, which was renovation of the frontage of the school, which was sponsored by the old boys, achieved by the trust fund. We were trying to build an auditorium that came out of the anniversary. That, as I said, there were 7 legacy projects, and they're still ongoing. And of course, after the 100th anniversary, still so the infrastructure of the school is, as to me, I think it's acceptable for education. Of course, it's not going to be what everyone would like it to be, but it's at a level where the young men can learn and have the necessary resource to accomplish what is really needed for them in terms of academic space and also for sporting facility also.
Right. And as we speak about legacy, KC somehow seem to keep that in perpetuity. They keep, everybody's aware of what they have done throughout the years. Whether it's from the 60s to the 70s to the 80s to the 90s, everybody, regardless of which school they attended, they seem to know about Kingston College. And that is, and its achievement. And that seemed to me to lead towards something else, because we as a people don't really do well when it comes on to legacy and really talking about our own history. We know other people's history, but we don't know our own. And as an institution, I think KC really step up and is among the leaders in that regard. What do you think? A couple of things at least that contributes to KC's legacy being so well known.
It's quite a few. The most, as I said, the most effective one that I'm going to speak from my point of view that I think works is, as you said, back in the days, the elders used to pass down tradition by sitting in circles and talk, and the young ones sitting there and learning, and that's how tradition and stuff passed on and knowledge. That's used to be the main forum in terms of transitioning knowledge down to the younger ones. by them eavesdropping on the elders' conversation or just sitting in. No, it's the same thing with KC. Anywhere you go and there's elder KC man around and they're discussing and they're talking, I can tell you from my experience as the younger one who was in the chapter, when you sit down, you can hear the history.
Yes.
There's a lot of KC gentlemen that I, in my brain, know, but I've never seen. And that's because you can hear the conversation, you hear this one talk about it, you go over there, you hear the other one talk about it, and the story keeps going and going. So to me, that's the more effective way because you're in a group and the conversation is there. So you absorb it more and the attention is there. That's a key one. Another way is I know we have a newsletter that publish information. So for individuals who miss the conversation or who is in an atmosphere by themselves, that not really can conversate with KC group or KC fraternity. It's out there on our news website, KC Times, where they can go out there and read and catch up on some information, know what's going on and hear what's going on. There's also been books that has been written by KC old boys that are published out there that talks about the KC history, and the most famous one is the history of Provoley. So gentlemen can read that and individuals who buy it can read it. And I think also in first form, I think there is a class, if I'm not mistaken, where the young men are introduced the history of Kingston College.
Okay.
Yes, so that's another aspect of it. So, and again, the being proud of your school and proud of who you are kind of also makes it comfortable for you to discuss around your friends the history, what you have seen, when you have seen it, and the pleasure you even get from it, if it's sports or it's in academia or whatever it might be. That kind of transition the history down. Because perfect example, my daughter here is 9-year-old. I'll give you a joke. When I was at the Atlanta function in Atlanta, my wife was pregnant at the time. And I was at that December function, Professor, and I got a call that my wife was in labor. I'm in Atlanta now, and she's in Birmingham. And it's the quickest I've ever taken a trip from Atlanta to Birmingham to get to the hospital because I had to leave the function. So my daughter was born while that function was going on. I made it back before she was born. Now she's 9-year-old now. And when she talked, she brought a project about her dad. As a matter of fact, it's back there. They tell her to write about her dad and stuff. And everything inside here says KC, Kingston College, and purple.
I'm glad. I am glad to offer one thing. You know that when you came out of the event,
yes,
to go back, that you remember to start running, but to go get your car.
Get a car. See, I'm not lying. Here it is. It's all purple and talking about
KC all over. So that's like that's a scrapbook, or is that a comic book?
The story at school, it said it's all about my dad. So the kids, it's Father's Day, they talk about their dad. And that's me holding a KC flag.
Okay. Well, you know, the thing is that KC has built a culture.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. And yes, some of the older schools, KC being 100, and other schools like Wolmer's, that goes back, way back.
Yeah,
you know,
way older now.
Yes, they have a deep-rooted culture. Okay. And they talk about Wolmer's like, like they're sleeping in the dorm still.
Yeah, man.
Okay. And that is something that we talk about in relations to other things that were embedded in our system. So even as we talk about track and we talk about soccer, Dale and I will be talking about cricket, okay? Where cricket was so deeply embedded in us that, Dale will tell you that he had 1 shilling, he take a shilling and go to what Lawrence Robert in Kingston coming from Trelawney, and he have no money to go back. Okay, so I'm saying, that part of it so deeply embedded in us, our culture is so deeply embedded that without it, we find out that we find we are a little bit starved. And not many families like yours can turn to their 9-year-old and say that when your 9-year-old is drawing, and they know everything about dad.
They know about, yes.
Okay? So they are reflecting what they see.
Yes.
And they're reproducing from their point of view what has been transmitted to them.
Yes, it's transition now.
Yes. And that is something now that we hope we had more of that in our diaspora.
Yes.
Because we complain so much time that we are not passing the culture along to our children.
Yes. I get a joke, it's not just KC culture. So what I do here in Alabama, as a matter of fact, yesterday me out a door about a coal skill. So me have my son now, so basically I'm trying to let them know this stuff. So when I was building it and stuff, my daughter, of course, I told her it's a small volcano. Just watch and you see. So I teach them how that, hey, this is coal skill, this is how you make coal.
Yes.
That's how we used to do it back in the day.
Yes.
So my grandparents used to do it and make money. So every little chance I get, you give them a little. The farming stuff, I plant throughout the summer and stuff. I call them outside. Say, what kind of plant this? You know this hour? No? Okay. Well, that name Calalo. That name peas. That name that, yeah.
I'm gonna tell you a secret. Dale plan to start farming next year or this year.
Yeah, man. So we do it all. So passing down the history is very important.
All those things, I do all the things you're talking about. I have my bok choy and my kalalu and my cucumbers and all these things because that is how we grew up.
Yeah, you're trying to let them,
you
give them a little. No, to them, they might not find it important right now, but little later when it starts register, as I said to them, then they're gonna start remember and use it.
All you have to do is plant the seed,
Yes.
That's all you have to do. When you plant the seed, it is gonna grow. Dale and I, we talk about the ripple effects.
There you go.
The ripple effects that you don't know where you don't see where the ripple stops,
Correct.
When the ripple goes and bounce against a wall, it forms new ripples.
Yes. Yes.
One becomes 10. It just branch off and ripples gone in every direction. When it bounce against a wall, it just split.
Come back.
And
man, and keep going.
Yeah, and keep going. Yes, man. Perfect planting of the seed in the young people, man. I was in the back today with my 9-year-old, and she had a little shovel and a hand and peas in her hand, and I was digging a hole and I said drop and cover. And I dig a hole and I said drop and cover. And that is how we used to do it in the country,
Yeah, man.
When the men used to have the pickaxe and they dig the hole and we stand by them and we throw the corn and the peas in the hole and the cover and we go to the next one. That is how we grew up in the country when it was planting time.
Yeah, man.
And we can do the same thing now but we're not in the country physically, but we can do the same
Can do it.
and pass the culture along to our children. Yes, man. I really bless you for that.
Yeah, man. Granny said, drop 3 in that hole, no more than 3 now. 3. Just drop 3. 3.
Right.
Yeah, man.
No, Alvin is just so beautiful, man, because one of my favorite KC personalities and person is Dr. Tony Keys. And he was honored maybe a month or so ago, where he got I think he was inducted in his what is that? Michigan State Hall of Fame.
Michigan State Hall of Fame, yeah.
Yes, he's one of my favorite persons, and he is so humble. And people don't understand what a great athlete he was and a great scholar. because in those days they set the pace, of course, being the first Jamaican school to come up to the pen relays and open that door for others to come through. And that's one of the things you have to admire about Kingston College. No matter who or what you are, you have to admire that about them. And
Yes.
so, meeting someone like you and knowing that you took over the presidency, what, 9 years ago or so?
Yes, just about.
Mm.
And you are held in, whether I like it or not, high esteem. Because whenever I call a name to anyone, it's wonderful things that they speak about. And they express to me that journey. And meeting you in person now, I realize why you would make that journey, because you believe that you must share what you have gleaned over the years. And I can see that coming out of you. And, Professor will let you know that when we speak to persons, interview them here, there's a common thread that runs through all of them. And it's
Yes.
that passion to share. I don't say give back because it is almost as if you owe something and you're repaying a loan or something. I like to
Yes,
say
yes.
share.
Yeah, man.
And when you're talking about the culture, there's this commonality,
Yes.
okay,
Mm,
that your experience is my experience because
Yes.
we come from the same culture.
Your culture. Yes. Yes.
yes,
There you go. There you go. The origin is the same.
The origin is the
yes.
same.
Yes. Yeah, man.
Oh man.
So if you should, I'm sure you may have at some point reflect on your presidency, 9 year. What are some of the most important, I'm sure all of them important, but some that stick out to you, accomplishments that you have, done over the past 9 years?
Um,
Your chapter, of course,
my
under
chapter.
your, yes,
Yeah.
under your presidency.
The chapter as a group, because it's not just me, it's the whole gentleman and the whole board and the whole members. I've accomplished a few stuff over the years, but the one that I can say stand out that we're working on and that looking forward to is that in this atmosphere as non-profit organization, we kind of realize that in reaching out and stuff, we're digging in the same well.
Yes.
Everybody's digging in the same well. Um, so my goal for the chapter moving forward is not just to be reaching out donors as our most important source of income. I'm moving towards where we can move the chapter in terms of investment type of stuff, where we invest. Currently, we're starting with real estate. Currently, we have two property that we have acquired here in where I'm at, Birmingham here. I acquired them from the city. Um, we renovated one and have it up for sale now,
Mhm.
and we're gonna renovate the other one and also put it up for sale. So we are trying to move in that direction where we can have enough seed capital to start an investment in real estate for the chapter to start raise more funding. Um, Realize it's kind of getting harder and harder to have donors, and to be frank with you, most of the generous donors are up in age and they're passing on.
Mhm.
And when they passed on, you tend to lose that source of income that you were getting for the organization.
Yes.
So for me, my goal before I leave office is to make sure that we're set up in a way that this investment portfolio is in an automatic and system that can be taken over by incoming administration and keep going. So if I'm talking about the most successful stuff, I would think that would be most impressive stuff the chapter has done as a whole
Mhm.
in my presidency. And I'm hoping we for this year we can have both of those properties up and sold and acquire at least two more and also look in the direction of some different type of investment.
Mhm.
So my goal is to move the chapter from more of a donor intensive to a more investment type of organization.
So we're talking about self-sufficiency, you know.
Yes.
So when we want to do something, we don't have to reach out
Correct.
to get anybody to come into our community to do it. We're going to do it ourselves and branch it out, you know, because
yes.
like the Bible says, you know, let your light shine before men.
Yes.
Let your light shine before men, that they may see you, your good work. Okay?
Yes.
Not where you're attracted to their light and take their light now to come light your path. Okay? And Brother Dale is an advocate for that, you know. We don't wait for people to come and do things in our Caribbean, in our West Indies. We have to move ourselves. Okay?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that is the type of mentorship. So when you mention ideas like this, when we share it with the other organizations out there, the light bulb is going to go off in their head. Not
Yeah.
all of them, because it says many are called, but
are chosen.
few. Oh, we are satisfied with the few. Okay?
Yes.
We are satisfied with the few. Nothing is wrong with that. Many are called, but few are chosen. Okay? Because we know that we're not on a dark night. When you go outside on a dark night, and I'm a block away from you, and I light a candle. You see that candle and you start walking towards the light. Even if you can't see where your footsteps are going, you see that candle on a dark night and you walk towards the light. And some of our organizations, they're the candle right now. Okay? And we just want the opportunity to share them with our community so that those who are discouraged say, no, man, I might have been running, but is a Jamaican win the race?
Yes. Yeah, man. It's all going back home.
I was telling Brother Dale, I said, listen, I would like the opportunity to run against Usain Bolt, you know. Because when I finish run against him, I'm going to tell everybody I come in second. Don't ask me how many of us was running.
That's so true. Yeah.
Even if it's two of us, I came in second.
That's
Yes.
true.
And you know, Alvin, listening to your story, which is our story,
Yes.
because when we say your, we take the Y from the front of it and it becomes our story.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
And it is important for people when they're reading, they don't just read his story, but they read your story, which becomes our story.
Indeed.
And that is the reason why, as you alluded to before, it's important to share it, because somebody out there is gonna see, is it White Marl?
White Marl, yeah.
That is going to say, I know that school.
Yes.
And somebody else is going to say, I went to that school. And guess what else now? Somebody is going to say, I knew Miss Campbell.
Yeah, man.
And Miss Campbell is going to say he was sitting in that chair.
You know, and God bless her if she's still alive, or maybe her grandchild or one of her children will say, that's my mother he's talking about. That's my aunt he's talking about. And we all swell, you know, and we are impressed with that, sir.
And that is when you go from history, which is his story, to her story.
Yes, you know, and it's ours because it's part of our legacy, it's part of our tradition, and it's what we sometimes, if you notice, even in any sport, the only sport people don't argue with us about too much is track and field, because the proof is in the pudding. Everything else, we tend to look at others, to be motivated by others, people from other countries, but we don't do that in track and field. We have our own, in you know, our own athletes, and to a lesser extent, our own singers, our own great singers. Matter of fact, I don't think that people actually give them as much credit as they should in terms of what they meant to the fight for equality and justice throughout the world, with the lyrics of their songs, etc., etc. But your initiative and your as your contribution as a president of a chapter of a school such as Kingston College is significant.
Yes.
And hearing you speak now, I can see why you would latch on in such a way and be so exemplary in your position because you have been helped and you want to help others to be who and what you are. I know you mentioned something about mathematics, and before we close, you said mathematics, and whenever I hear anybody say mathematics, not biology, not history, not medicine, but mathematics, I get very curious. Mm-hmm. So tell me why mathematics and what's your achievement in mathematics?
Achievement in mathematics. Well, I'm still playing with numbers. I'm currently I'm a chief statistician at Blue Cross and Blue Shields of Alabama here in Birmingham. And my role involved in maintaining and creating the fee schedules for physician and medical suppliers and dentals and also drugs. I kind of they put me over the budget, about a $5 billion budget to maintain those services for them.
Okay.
So that's in a nutshell what I do. So I still play with those numbers. Over the years, I also still assist students with their master's work and their PhD thesis in terms of the analyst part. So I must say mathematics has done good for me. I'm not going to beat it too bad. I'm going to give my blessings to it. So yes, it has to be a long way.
Well, math is a language all of its own. And Brother Dale will tell you, everything is math.
Yeah. Professor, we could draft him into help with the cricket statistics.
Yes, statistician by trade currently. Yes.
Okay, yeah, man. So, Professor, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was saying that's what I did. I did my bachelor's in maths and my master's in biostatistics. So I did quite a few studies in mathematics.
In mathematics, yeah. Yes, so Professor?
Well, Brother Binns, let me say that from at this point onwards, you're appointed as a roving ambassador for the Legacy Series, which means that you are now saddled with being the eyes, one of the eyes of our platform, to discover the diamonds out there like yourself that is building this, our network as a community out there. Because we know that we cannot see everything. And I say that because I like to look at the Bible as an example, because when I say something from the Bible and you want to argue with me, I just turn you over to God, all right? So, but I'll say this, that even Jesus, when he came and he could see everything even before it happened, he still went out and said, okay, we need disciples to go and among the people, okay, and tell them that the Messiah is here, he's come, okay? And I would say that for such a time as this is where we find ourselves, not responsible for we being here, but we just find ourselves here for such a time as this to serve our community, for such a time as this. You are here this evening on this program for such a time as this, destined to fill this space. Okay? So I thank you so much for being available. And I thank you so much for all that you do. Because as I said, there are many people who this is gonna bounce off, and some of them is gonna stick to the wall.
Yeah.
And they're gonna be so happy that you're able to dedicate this time this evening to tell them your story, which is history or his story, and her story. Okay. So again, I say thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you back on the program down the road, because we're not going anywhere in a hurry. We are not running a sprint. That, as Brother Dale will say, we are running a marathon. Okay. So again, I say thank you so much for spending the time with us, and walk good.
Yeah, man. Before you leave, if you don't mind if I say a few words.
Go ahead, man.
Yeah,
Of course.
so I will be feeling my duty if I didn't say much thanks to my parents,
Mm-hmm.
Mom Winsome and my stepdad at the time who raised me, Louis and Clark, all the work they have done and they have put up with me over the years as a youngster.
Uh-huh.
Like to say thanks to all my teachers in school,
Mm-hmm.
Downey, Mr. Hall, Mr. Benji, Miss Campbell, Mrs. Campbell, Mrs. Allen from White Marl.
Mm-hmm.
All those teachers at KC also assist me through the way. Father Paul, may his soul rest in peace. Coach Leo Brown, Mr. Riley, Miss Douglas, Mr. Samuda, appreciate it. All the people out there in the diaspora who is watching this today,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say to you, please go out there and give back. I mean, extend the olive branch. It don't have to be $1 million or $1,000. Whatever you can, whatever you can contribute back, even if it's in time or talent. Try and support if it's your school that you're attached to and you have the passion for, or it's your community or your church. Wherever you find that niche that you have a passion to support, please do so, because the need is there. And there's a youngster out there or an individual out there who just need an olive branch. Move to the next level, and you might be that person who can provide it. So I encourage you, please give back, pay forward,
Okay.
extend the olive branch.
And let me say, let's cut the fat and get down to the bone. I have to save your bacon. What is your wife's name and what is your child's name?
My wife's name is Judith Binns, and my daughter's name is Elaine Binns. That's the last one. I have quite a few of them.
Well, they
I
have
have
names.
Jillian Binns.
They have names. They have names, right?
Yeah, man. Jillian is my oldest daughter. Morgan is my second daughter. Then my son Aiden Binns and my daughter is Elaine, and I have two stepdaughters, which is Yoshika Cummins and Kayla Cummins. My wife's name is Judith Binns. So that's my family and extended family.
And please give them your email address now, so that if they want to contact you, to congratulate you, or to just buzz you to get some mentorship from you, they have an easy way to contact you.
It's easy. It's AL, my two first initial from my name, Binns, BINNS, at yahoo.com.
Repeat that, please.
AL, BINNS at yahoo.com. Albins at yahoo.com.
Okay. Thank you so much, Al. And again, I say, on behalf of our community, please keep on doing what you're doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you all, gentlemen, and you all have a blessed night.
Okay.